Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy Beaky and I have returned for another deck build for your entertainment. And for today, I wanted to actually tackle something I've not done on the channel very often, assassin deck. Yeah guys, if you notice, I usually don't play a lot of assassin decks and I don't play a lot of last grass decks. And with that being said, I wanted to put something together and play something you guys haven't seen from me very often right before their new expansion comes out. Now this deck obviously won't be very viable in about 2 weeks when every new card comes out and change up the meta and change up the game, but as you guys could clearly see from the win ratio right here, I went 14-2 from the newest version of the deck that I'm going to show you guys in a second. So 2 losses out of 14 ranked matches is definitely not bad, and I even have more win of that when I had an earlier version of the deck, which I will talk about once we take a look at the deck build itself. And we'll do some live gameplay for you guys today because it's been a while since I've actually done that. Just come on here, show some gameplay, let's have a few matches. But I do want to ask you guys an interesting question. Now that I'm thinking about trying things I haven't tried before, how about updating some older decks? I have some werewolf starter decks out there. I have some more advanced control decks out there. I have support decks out there that I've put up on Legends-Decks, or you guys can go ahead and look into my playlist on the channel and see all my deck builds. I was thinking with the new expansion coming out, instead of really focusing on making new decks featuring a lot of these new cards as the centerpiece, how about taking some of those new cards and incorporating some decks that I might have made even a year to 2 years ago and see where that could actually help us out growing in Legends. Updating older decks. Do you guys think that's something you want to see? We take a deck that's been established and been good in the past and see if we can actually make it good again because the game has changed with new expansion, new cards, new nerfs along the way, or new buffs. I thought about it as something fun. We could do another series like updating the old. I don't know the name of it, but if you guys think of something else to name it, I will be more than willing to try that out if you guys want to see it. But anyways, let's get into the deck build itself and then jump into a few matches and show you guys what this deck is all about. So the deck name is 9. I have no clue why it's named 9, but that's what it's named. It doesn't really matter. And looking over, it's a 50 card dual attribute deck. I know there's some controversy right now about dual attribute decks and if they're good, but if you guys saw the win ratio, currently they're still fairly viable. When the new expansion comes out, we'll see. Now, if we want to look at the deck right now, it clearly is a last grass deck with cards like Spymaster here. We definitely have Mastermind, a card I don't play very often, but it overall is an aggro-based deck. Let's go ahead and break it down real quick. So we run in 2 Corsair Ships. The Corsair Ships, you summon a creature, they get a dagger, and when you play the card, you also get a 1/1 Corsair that also gets a dagger. We don't need 3 of these. Some supports 2 is perfectly fine. You throw this out there. This gives you a creature that you could either use with Cruel Firebloom or attack with itself. So that's perfectly fine with me. The creature is just an extra bonus on top of the daggers. You want these daggers not to be super aggressive. It is an aggro, but it's not super aggressive. You want these daggers to go on things like Avenger. When her last grass effect happens, you get another creature. That's another dagger played out there. Same thing over here. Daggers on both creatures once their last grass effect happen. Cliff Racers, that makes it a 5/4. Excellent card right there. When you get out somebody like Mastermind, Mastermind effect happens instantly summon. Now it's a 6/4. That's actually a fairly decent card for a 5 magic right there as just a big body. So I'll take that with the last grass effect. We have Sails Through the Storm. We'll talk about this in a second, but don't worry about it. If you want to remove it, you can, but we'll talk about why that's there, and we'll talk about why Elizabeth is there. No, Queen is here right here. Not Elizabeth. She's not freaking Queen Elizabeth, but the Queen is here and why she's in the deck. So let's go over the beginning though. Brutal Ashlander, bam, early game card. When it dies, you go ahead and hit for 3. Great card. It's RNG. You're not sure exactly who it's going to hit, but it's been in my favorite. Drain Vitality combos with Shearpoint Dragon. You're not here to control with Shearpoint Dragon. You're here to remove guards and hit creatures out of your way that just might be having lethal, just easy early game creatures. You're going to have some type of effective way to remove them, and that's what Drain Vitality and Shearpoint is here for. And you can't be afraid to use your Drain Vitality early on in the game, even before Shearpoint Dragon comes out, because remember, we're not here trying to play this match for 10 to 20 minutes. We're trying to get in there, win the match, and move on to the next match as quickly as possible, especially if you're trying to climb the ladder. Shadowmere's combos very well with Corsair Ship. Ship, and it's just a card you can keep in your hand to later in the game when you just need that extra one little damage to combo off like a Cliff Racer to win the match with the Lightning Bolt, which is something you're going to be doing. You're going to be basically saving your Lightning Bolts more or less, if you can, to actually help with that end game damage when you have 4 health left, or if your opponent has 8 health and you play out Cliff Racer at 9 magic, it'll go ahead and win the match. You're not using your Lightning Bolts most of the times as removals. That's why we have the Drain Vitalities. That's why we have the Brutal Ashlanders as ways to remove cards. That's why we have my new favorite Murkwater creature, the new one that was just released with the monthly reward. I like this a lot better than Murkwater Shaman. Plain and simple, this card instantly gives you value once it's summoned. Hits the field, boom, gives you a curse. When it dies, gives you a curse. Combo that as well with Mastermind, you have yourself a pretty good, decent 4-drop, even though it's 3/1. I like it a lot. You don't have to wait for its effect to happen, and you don't have to worry about your opponent removing it and you get no value out of it at all. Person Twilight is one of our only 2 guards in the game, both being 4 costs. As you guys see, we have a lot of 4-cost cards, and usually this is one of the reasons in the past I don't like to build Assassins. I don't like to have too many 4-cost cards, but Assassin is one of those decks, if you play it right with a Mastermind and the last grasp, it could work out pretty great. Any one of these 4-cost cards, if I get them, they're going to be useful in one way or the other. Kinsman, we all know how Kinsman work. Come on, guys. Play this down there. It's going to get to attack maybe once or twice in most cases before most opponents remove it. A lot of time people let this card sit there for a little too long before they get rid of it. And that's why I kind of like this card right here. I don't know why. It's just something I've noticed. People don't usually try to get rid of it right away because, once again, it gives us health and it takes health from the opponent. So sometimes you get to keep this card for a little longer than you probably really should be able to. So I like to usually play this in the left lane because people will usually leave this alone for far too long. And by the time it's still sitting there, then I get to play into Mastermind and I get the effect to have happen basically twice until it dies, you know. Then we have Alchemist. I love this card. I've fallen, this is kind of the inspiration of this deck. I've kind of fallen in love with this card in the last month, just incorporating different decks, and it made me really think, like, why have I not been playing this card before? Like, the RNG factor of getting any random action is completely random, but that's a free card right there for a 3/2/3 drop. Like, I don't see a negative. I've not seen any negative effect from this card. Most of the times, the cards that I get are going to be useful. Most actions in Legends are actually fairly useful. It's like spells in Skyrim. You know, they're usually pretty good and pretty fun to play with. So I've been having a great time with this. It's very rare that I get a card that's been completely unusable from him, and I feel it's a good value, especially if you're playing in the Last Grasp deck. You already know how she works. Lightning Bolts, you're going to keep the Lightning Bolts, hopefully to win the game. Cliff Racers are there to do Cliff Racer does charge, win the game. Leaflurkers are for those big creatures. If the match gets a little too long and you need to go ahead and take out a big boy, well, this is what you're going to use that for right there. Ice Storm is something I couldn't. This is what actually changed the deck for me, because before I got to the 14 matches with the 12 wins, I was messing around with this and I just didn't feel it was consistent enough against token decks. People who are just summoning lots of creatures, or agility decks, or red decks that's gonna go out there and mob the field really early, because we're not gonna be mobbing the field very quickly. It's just not how this deck is actually designed early on. So Ice Storm just felt so needed because Drain Vitality was nerfed to the point that it only could target one lane once it's at level 3. So I needed Ice Storm to get rid of those mobs of creatures so I could start back on the aggressive effect. Of course, it helps as well if I have Spymaster, it could help activate some of my Last Grasp ability, but it's not there for that. It's really out there for those token decks that really gets in your way, and it's been really annoying. And once I added in 2 Ice Storms, it just felt like it felt more consistent to me because I had that extra layer of removal. Before I had Ice Storm, I had another Brutal Ashlander, which was definitely helpful, and I had another Corsair Ship. But then I realized I never want to play out, if I'm playing 3 Corsair Ships in a match, that seems like, well, I should have probably already won that match. That's how it has felt to me. So 2 is about as much as I need in a deck, and usually 1 will get the job done. We're not really trying to sit here all day playing out daggers. We're trying to hit, and be smart about it while we're playing against our opponent. Now, talking about the Queen and talking about Sails Through the Storm. So what about these cards right here? We're going to get to these cards in a moment. Queen is a bait card. It's not a card you're going to be using to actually gain the health effect. use Queen to turn Spymaster or Shadowmere or Kinsman into guard. That's usually what you're going to do. You're not going to usually just play this card out with no other creature as well to turn them into guards. Like, that's going to be the only other way to get to more guards other than these two right here, because you don't have a lot of defensive options. Usually your opponent's going to go ahead and target this creature, lightning bolted, crushing blow. They're going to get rid of this piercing javelin, casting the time. You guys all know the ways you can get rid of the card like this, because they don't want you to gain back 6 health, because that's going to make it harder for you to take out. But while they're wasting their action taking out Queen, you're going to be able to attack with your Kinsman or anything else if you're already played out beforehand. So don't play this as a way to gain health, because you're just not going to gain that much health. You won't be able to more or less attack maybe once with this before your opponent, who are playing smart, get rid of it. That's just what's going to be happening. You'll get most of your health back from Kinsman and playing into Mastermind or so on and so forth like that. All right, guys? Next up, we have Sail Through the Storm. Once again, another bait card. Most of the times, you're not going to get a chance to attack and get the pillar for effect from this, but your opponents will use their removals for this, their silence for this. A lot of people will love to hit you with silence with a card like this, but then it just becomes a 5/5 body, and I mean, I could live with that. It's not the greatest body out there, but the other effect of this card is it usually makes people panic. People like to freaking just forfeit if you get a good card through Sails Through the Storm. I don't know why. It's just something I've seen so many times with this card, and this is one of my favorite cards from the newest expansion. If you get to actually get the Pillar for effect off of this card, and you get yourself something like Ancano, you get Supreme Atromancer or Acromancer, whichever you want to say it, or Packmaster, people just like to be like, okay, game is done, I lost, and they just forfeit. I don't know why that happens. So I like incorporating this card in a deck like this, because if it has that, I would almost call it, it's a mental, advantage. It's not an advantage that this is a great 6-drop at this position, because I could remove this and probably be a better card. It's Shearpoint Dragon, but because I've seen enough people forfeit because of this card, it's like, I'm going to add this and I'll take out the Shearpoint, because Shearpoint, we all know how this one works already, and I don't feel like I need 3 Shearpoints in this deck. Boom, simple card. It's a help winning the match card. Removal, 8-drop. We all know what it does. Packmaster, we need the charge in here to win the match. I felt this I needed this. I felt like this deck needed that extra last game oomph. That late game card that summons multiple creatures that could work out well with Corsair Ship. And it does everything I like in a card. This is why I used to say this card to me was the best game in Legends. When Legends first came out of closed bid, I feel like this was a really powerful card before it got nerfed to existence a few times. So for me, it's still a decent card. It summons 2 big bodies, and itself it has the effect of dealing 2 damage every time a monster is summoned. So if you play this, if you're at 11 Magic, or you play it with Shadowmere, and you could deal 6 damage from hand, which is very useful, because by this point you're going to be hitting your opponent pretty aggressively. Now, the other extra effect that goes in with the bait cards, if you guys have heard me talk about bait cards, cards are just that you know that your opponent are not going to let you keep. Your opponent's not going to let you keep Queen. Your opponent's not going to let you keep Sails Through the Storm. It's just not going to happen. Along with Shearpoint Dragon, most of the time these are cards that your opponents are going to get rid of one way or the other. So the same thing here, your opponent's most likely going to get rid of her, but you're going to be able to keep the 2 big bodies on the field and still get the 4 effect from instantly summon her. So I like a late game monster like this that does that. So I still think she's a fairly decent card. I'm actually kind of surprised I don't have a premium version of her. Oops, let's see. Oh man, now I have to go back and add a card back. I really thought I had a premium version. Well, I'm not gonna waste you guys showing you guys all this. Let's go ahead and jump into a match, and we'll see how this. Okay, here we are, guys. Let's go into a match. It's been a really long time since we've done something like this, just a live gameplay. I played as the great main, giving the Khajiits some love right here, guys. I'm using the 25-year anniversary sticker, or you could say card back. We'll turn back 1 Cruel Firebloom. We'll keep piercing Twilight. I like to usually get myself Corsair Ship in my first hand, but yeah, that kind of sucks. Piercing Twilight's gonna be great if my opponent actually draws out one of these Brotherhood Assassins early on, so we'll have to live with that. My opponent doesn't put out anything too threatening too early. I mean, it's a very powerful card, but makes me be able to just wait a moment before doing anything. We have mostly removals right now. Next turn we could play into Avenger, then we could go from there depending on what my opponent plays next. Okay, so my opponent's going to be playing off of gaining health back, which definitely will be at a disadvantage. For me, we'll start Avenger over here. And we'll wait a moment before we do into Cruel Firebloom or anything like that.
My eyes are open.
We'll see what dragons. So we have Mastermind right here. Go ahead and attack.
They won't be expecting this.
You've met your match, Lackwit.
Wait a second. So we're not going to go ahead and remove Listener yet. Dragon. Oh, hopefully don't have anything else. My death will be right there. That's fine. So we're gonna keep on going with the attacking right here. Then we're going to go into this. Get rid of these. Get rid of the health gain.
Gone.
I'll return.
End it out right there. We're not going to use another Cruel Firebloom because we're going with the dragon. I don't usually want my opponent to be this aggressive with that, but we can live with it. This is the type of stuff we could actually...
I fly like the wind and the shadows protect me. You haven't heard the last.
Alright, so then we'll play into...
I do love a good
again,
fight.
I don't want to ever not have creatures out on the field, so we'll play into the last grass. We'll keep the guard. If he's going to charge into this, let him charge into this. This will just be a bait card. I don't really feel like we're going to keep this card often. We got ourselves a big old dragon right there. Fine. Let's see how my opponent plays.
I do not fear death.
Right. Perfectly okay. Play this here. We're going to attack. Remember, we are an aggressive deck, so we're not here to waste time.
Your destruction is at hand.
Last grass creatures in the left lane. So this is obviously a threat because I'll have a way to gain health right here. But Shearpoint Dragon is also a threat.
Arcane's beard, stay back.
That's fine. Let's see if he's going to actually attack right now because now he has multiple choices of who to attack. Probably the right choice is right here. Get rid of this. One right in front. One right there. Okay, I guess he thought I was going to trade right here. But remember, I'm going to just keep going aggressive. I'm not going to slow down.
It's not enough to watch your back these days.
Because I don't feel like I need to. Here and play off
Die,
the
Outlander.
you know how that actually works. So there we go. So then the best thing to do here.
The forest is more clever.
There. Then we're going to go over here.
We'll stand together.
Trade here. Give me 2. Let's try to keep this here. Nobody here with Unstoppable Rage is going to make us lose the match. So even if he puts on Breakthrough on him or him,
they won't get that
well, there's a 0-cost item that adds Breakthrough as well. Even if that's a possibility, it wouldn't be enough damage with Unstoppable Rage for me to lose this match. But yeah, that's it right there. Even when your opponent plays aggressively into, like, you know, dragon creatures like this, even though Skyborn Dragon is just not a great card these days. Not that it wasn't never a great card, it's just not these days. It's not. I see a lot of people playing cards like Telvanni Dragon, but once again, I don't think Telvanni Dragon's that really so we do 3 damage there, we do that there. And yeah, I don't see myself losing. So yeah, just added another win to my record right there, guys. And just to, in case anybody thought I skipped ahead or anything, Yeah, we just go back into the record. I didn't skip even one match. Yeah, see, same win ratio from when I started the video. So yeah, just add another win. So that's 13 wins and 2 losses. I think that's a fairly decent new deck, guys. I haven't done this in a while, and I think I'm having fun playing an assassin deck. Like I said before, feel free if you feel like, and once again, even in that match right there, card like Sails Through the Storm is very viable to take out. I could understand people not playing this card. I'm playing it for the mental advantage of hoping to win via a forfeit, or hopefully I get that one great draw out of Sails Through the Storm. And I just love this card. Come on, I summoned up a freaking premium version. Just so sexy. Oh no, I ran away. Sails, come back. Thank you so much. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys soon again. This is the BQ Untitled Game Show. Let me know what you guys think about updating older decks. If you guys want to see more videos, click one of the videos over on the right side of the window. The top video is best recommended from YouTube, but the bottom video is a video I recommend you guys go ahead and check out. Till next time, see you soon.